Okay, we're going to make a roasted butternut squash and kale salad today. And I have two kinds of kale. The first one is a Tuscan kale, which is the thin dark green leaf, and the other type of kale is the red leaf kale. The reason we're using kale is because it's plentiful in the winter, it's a cool weather crop, and then also it's just very healthy. So kale has compounds in it that are, just packed with antioxidants, cancer fighting, also lots of vitamins, vitamin A and K. So it's just a really nutritious green. We're going to small dice the butternut squash so it roasts fairly quickly in a 400-degree oven with just a little bit of olive oil, a little pinch of salt, and it'll roast quickly, and it'll be a nice addition to the hearty kale. Finally, we're going to finish off the salad with some chopped dates and a very basic vinaigrette with balsamic vinegar and olive oil and a little salt and pepper. Okay, so I've peeled and just kind of rough dice or rough chunked up the butternut squash. I'm going to drizzle a little olive oil and just a sprinkle of a salt and pepper mix here and into the oven. And I have the oven set at 400 degrees and I'm going to roast it. I'm going to check in about 15 minutes. It just needs to have caramelized a little and got nice and soft, and then it'll be ready to cool before we add it to our kale. Okay, while the butternut squash roasts, you can get the kale ready, and all I've done is just sliced it or chopped it rather, really thin slice, so that it's just easy to eat. And kale's so hearty that the butternut squash won't sort of mess it up or wilt it or anything. It's just a very hearty green. Okay, so we're going to make our very simple vinaigrette with some balsamic vinegar and some olive oil, a little salt and pepper, and it'll be a nice complement to the sweetness of the dates as well as the sweetness of the roasted butternut squash. So I'm pretty loose with my vinaigrettes. I mean, I just start with vinegar, get a little vinegar, and always just add a little more oil than you have vinegar, and then I call it done. It's not something for me that I really measure. In fact, very often I'm just sprinkling vinegar on my greens and then sprinkling oil and then a little salt and pepper. So just the rule of thumb, I think, with vinaigrettes is that you have a little more oil than vinegar. So I'm just going to just give this a little whisk, and that'll be ready. When everything's ready to put together, that's all set to go. So we're ready to assemble the salad. Our squash has come out and there's been a little caramelization, which is that brown color there, and that's really good. That brings out the sugars and will make the squash taste really good with the kale. So we've let it cool a little bit. Probably could cool a little longer. It can be room temperature. If it comes out too warm and you start adding it to the kale, you can see here it's probably a little too warm, then it'll just wilt some of the kale leaves. But again, kale's really hearty, so it's okay if it's a little bit warm. So I've added my squash, and then we had the chopped dates. So this is just a nice little topper for the salad if you want it a little sweeter. If you wanted it a little crunchier, you could add some roasted nuts. So my friend Sherry brought over some roasted nuts, so I added these to a little cup here. And so we could add as much as you want, really. There's really no rules with assembling a salad. I could taste it for salt and pepper. I've added salt and pepper along the way, so I don't need to, I can have it here and if needed, use it. We have our little vinaigrette, which we'll just kind of drizzle on the top. And you have your roasted butternut squash and kale salad ready to go for a lunch or a side to a dinner. And again, just really a very nutritious, healthy salad.